I'm going to run out of time eventually, so what I'm going to do is go to the ones that you haven't seen before when I start seeing the time start ticking down, because some of this you have seen before and it might be easier for you to get through with just a video from me. These are laws of exponents. Laws of exponents are really close to my heart, because I talked about this in pre-calc. They're close to my heart because I wasn't one of the smart kids in high school. I went to cowboy country, we were in Montana, and I decided somewhere in my junior year to kind of like math, and I memorized the laws of exponents and the log laws, and I got third in the state on a math competition. So I saw how important those were right away. So here they are, the laws of exponents, and they're going to be on every quiz because they're super, super important. I just stumbled luckily on this my first round in math, but first is that when you multiply two things with different exponents, you combine them by adding the exponents. When you divide, you subtract the exponents. If you have a couple things in there with an exponent on the outside, every single one of the exponents gets a multiplied effect. Number 4, negative exponents do not mean the number's negative. It kicks it down to the basement. If it's in the basement, it kicks it upstairs. So that's what negative exponents do. They move it up and down. And final is that if you have p root a to the q, then that's a q over p. And those are the laws. Years ago, I got to teach at West Point for a number of years, and then I could make them learn it. Every day they'd have to salute and give me the laws of exponents. X to the m times x to the n is x to the m plus n. Man, I was in heaven. All my students knew the laws of exponents. I can't do that here, unfortunately, because I could punish them with push-ups if they didn't do it. So those are the laws of exponents copied and pasted for you, so you don't have to take notes. They're right up there again. And you see that to figure this out, the first step is to take law number 5 and 6, which says that if it's negative in the basement, it kicks it upstairs with a positive, and if it's negative in the upstairs, it kicks it downstairs. So I just rotated them around, like so. And by the way, I make you do this too. Tell me which laws you're using. So I'll make you write down the laws on your quiz, and then tell me which ones you're using. So it'll force you to kind of go back and not make a mistake. So you'll be numbering them yourself. No, I won't make you memorize my numbers. You will have them on yourself. Saying, I'm using number 2 of my law that I've written down. So I'll make you spit out all the laws, and then you get to use them. Okay, breaking up is easy to do, as long as you're not in love. Then it's very hard. I don't know why they don't teach kids how to break up anymore. But just take that 3 to the 8th and just write them all out. You don't want to make a mistake. It's not, students have told me, I asked you this on the quiz there, the info sheet, whether you don't like math because you're feeling judged and you have to be perfect. You know where I got that from? I asked hundreds of students why they don't like math in the general ed math. Students who don't go into science usually don't like math. And that's one of the reasons they choose not to go into science. So that number one answer they told me is they felt they had to be perfect. I'm not perfect. You're going to find that very soon. I'm not perfect by any means. But I know how to immunize myself against mistakes. So I assume that I'm going to make a mistake. And then I immunize myself so I don't make that mistake. So what I do is I take that 3 to the 8, and I write down 8 3s. 3 times 3 times 8 times. And I take that 9 cubed, and I write them down as 3 as well. And this is the fun part. You slash out all the 3s on the top with the 3s on the bottom, and you get 9. Let's check if Webassign is right. Look at that. Webassign is correct. Always assume you're right. It works well in my marriage. And it works even better when he agrees. Okay, so you take the bottom one and you look at the laws again. Here's the laws. Well, which law does it look most like? 6. So I'm going to apply that first. I'm going to change that into fractional exponent. My son tells me his teachers don't like the fractional exponents. Fractional exponents where it's at. You can't do calculus without fractional exponents. So they should actually be telling their kids always to change it to fractional exponents. Because who can do anything with cube root of x squared? You can do something with it now. It's x to the 2/3. And fractions don't scare me much. I had to go back and look at Webassign's answer to see how they wanted it, which is kind of rough because you can't do that. But I think I'm giving you a copy-paste of the same problem. They wanted it like that. Typically, I don't like negative exponents because they irritate me for some reason, but they wanted it like that, and that's law 4. So I'm telling you, your problem's the same as my problem, but some numbers changed. They want it like that, x to the minus 2/3. Okay, any questions on that? Look at that, Webassign got it right again. I kind of cheated because I looked at the answer and I said, oh, they want it with a negative exponent. Again. Okay, this one's easy. They wanted you to just graph all these on the same graph and then say something about them. Webassign is limited because, and this is some of the complaints that we've received they've received from us and other instructors, is that you can only ask rote things on Webassign. So not only are they like suicides, they're like suicides and running laps and all those things, awful things that you do in sports practices, all at once, because they're boring kind of questions. And so we like, can we ask them something where we can dig a little deeper to see if they know something? So this is their attempt to do this. It's very difficult in the online system to do this, right? To really ask you questions like this. But you know these like drop-down boxes? I had to go back and look and see, this was the question that was given. And I had to cheat and look at the answer to see what it is they want you to say. So there's drop-down boxes on this where they want you to say, these are these increasing or decreasing? So I just wanted you to see that so you know what they want you to see. You know, you can look at a graph like we looked at with the growth charts, and you guys are asking me, what do you want me to say? Like, and I said, just free for all, just tell me what you see. But in this case, they can't free for all because they want something specific in mind, so I had to cheat a little bit. All right, so I graphed them all. And again, I like the computer because it gives you a nice picture, and then you can see the difference. And I label them so you can see that. This is 3 to the x and 10 to the x. And they're different than the other two. Why? Because they're going up. So they're increasing. So that's what they want, increasing. The other two are going down. So they're decreasing. What else do they want? They asked, the graph of 1/3 x is the reflection of 3 to the x. Here's 3 to the x, it's the green. And you see that it's the same graph, except that it's mirrored over the y line, right? So you can just answer, that you can actually look at the drop-down box and figure out what they want to do. By just, once you see the graph, then you see that. The graph of 10 to the x and 3 to the x, which one grows faster? That's red and green. We just did this with the growth charts, right? The red, right? So you just look at it. So you want to all graph it. I don't recommend doing them on the calculator, except that you might get more. If you're not familiar with your calculator, just YouTube how to graph several things at once and just do it so that you know how to do it. But it won't. Everything is gray on your calculator unless you have to Inspire. Then the graph of 10. They have another one. The graph of. I don't really know what they want here. Approaching 0. Obviously here, if the number here is smaller than the number here, it's going to go to 0 faster. So I think that's what they want on the bottom. So this is why I never had Webassign for grade. I'm not a fan of it because of this problem. Like you can't ask anything interesting, and then you have this limitation that they have. But this is what they want. So when you're sitting with your Webassign and you're cursing me out, remember that I have a video that tells you what you're supposed to do.